Hey guys, Darth back with some more Queensblade Limit Break content. Today we're going to be going over how to level up your character, what that actually means and what it does for you. We're also going to be covering parts of the spring, basically specifically the boot camp, which is an in-game system that is going to allow you to invest in a few characters and then automatically boost other characters. It's a familiar system that a lot of games with many tunes or characters that they're using to a similar system to automatically boost other characters on your account. Well, I do want to mention off the bat that this video is specifically going to be covering leveling your warriors, although we will be referencing ranking up or starring up of your characters, because you can't effectively do one without the other. You need both components in order to make progression on any given warrior. But I want to stay on focus, I want to stay on target with a specific subject matter. Ranking up involves the temple, leveling up involves the spring, and you'll see that here in just a second. But let's bring up a basic warrior here. What is leveling? Uh, if I had to simplify it, leveling is increasing your warrior's level to provide a increase to your base attributes, your base stats. If you don't know, the base stats are speed, defense, health, and attack. Right here, these are your base attributes. There are other attributes, but they're actually secondary attributes. Now, I'm not, because I know somebody's going to say something out there, and I've already alluded to, we're going to make references to starring up. Ranking up or starring up can, in fact, provide bonuses to your base attributes. If you look at the rank up tab, it provides an attack and HP growth, even though it is incrementally like 10% each time. It by definition does actually increase your attack and HP stat. That is not what that is not the primary function, even though it is there on ranking up. Leveling up incrementally increases all these base attribute stats up until the maximum. Ranking up or starring up is the increasing of your skill level and or passives that you may have, and those are right here. Now, usually on your A2 or your first passives, you will have a character that has an increase to either your base attributes or secondary stats, or a combination of both. Here you got attack, HP, and crit rate. Crit rate is actually a secondary stat. So ranking up does actually have an effect on your base attributes, but not all of them at one time. That's what leveling up is for. So they do both work together, as I mentioned. So one of the things you're going to notice is the level is actually located off to the left here, and you'll notice that it has a 100, and that's because at a 5-star warrior can only go up to level 100. I want to call out that I'm going to use two different terms here. One is level cap, and the other is level ceiling. Level cap is the maximum level that any given character, toon, or warrior, or whatever they call it in the game you're playing, can actually reach before they can't level up anymore. A ceiling isn't necessarily permanent. It can be increased by a number of different things. Sometimes they release a DLC that increases your level cap, and so you have an initial ceiling. Well, here you have a ceiling in that once you reach that ceiling, in order to progress, because this is a 5-star warrior, you're going to need to rank up or star up. Every time you rank up your character, it's going to give you a new ceiling to reach in terms of level, thus increasing your base attribute stats along the way up to a maximum of whatever is predetermined by your character. So that's the difference. Leveling versus ranking, and they both work together to increase your stats. Each rank up increases that ceiling to continue to level up your character, thus increasing the stats. How do you level up? Well, it's through a combination of infusing gold and a currency called Warrior XP. How do you get this warrior XP? Well, there's a number of different ways. The market sometimes on this initial sale tab will have it released for spending gold or gems. I would not really spend the gems here, and I'll show you why in a second, although I do invest gold in it. The primary marketplace here, you will not find on any of these tabs, which is odd. You won't be, it's not odd when you understand the market, but you will not find a way on any of these tabs to buy warrior XP. If you don't believe me, take the time to go through the exchange market and see. You will not find it. The primary way is under the adventurer level, okay, and the campaign, increasing your level. The main way is by, increasing your adventurer level and your campaign level so that you can collect idle rewards. Idle rewards is going to probably be the biggest chunk of XP that you're going to get outside of buying packs and various other things. And as you can see here, I accumulate a certain rate per minute, and that can be increased a number of ways. One being your VIP level. Your VIP level, if you don't know what that is, if you've never played a mobile game or anything like this, the more you spend, the more perks you unlock. I have a perk that increases my warrior XP gains from idle benefits by 50%. That is huge. Okay, when you're talking about some of the levels, we're going to take a look at a chart later. When you're talking about some of the XP needed, you'll understand why. But you're going to collect your idle rewards, and it's going to give you XP. Fast battle is the second way to collect. You can spend gems to get your 120 minutes. It's one of the reasons why this fast battle pass, again, is so valuable. Not only increasing your adventure rank, but it gives you valuable rewards like runes and gear, but it gives you the currency needed, that warrior XP. It increases your free and collections, and it increases the amount of gem collections that you can do. That's the first way. That's the first primary. The second way is to go into your tower, collect your rewards, your daily rewards for your tower clear. That's minor. But another major way is to do your dailies. Under your quest tab here, you should be doing this daily, your daily trials. You can have coins, XP, warriors, and runes. If you're not familiar with this, as your power level increases, you're going to be able to challenge higher tiers of floors, if you will, to automatically collect rewards every day. And then you're going to be given so many attempts to spend gems to get them, and one of them is warrior XP. You need to be taking advantage of this, guys, especially if you're starting out the game. Okay, you're going to need a lot of XP, and this is just one way to do it. And another way of doing it that a lot of people either don't know about or forget is under benefits. If you don't know, there's always a benefits event running. And again, this is all tied to this idle and fast battle rewards, guys. Again, it's super important. Under benefits, they have a different name. There's only like 4 or 5 names, or 3 or 4 names, but each week there's a idle benefits currency that can be attained just by collecting your idle rewards. Okay, and it's kind of like a hidden or behind the scenes benefit package where you can go and spend currency. A lot of people are going to be tempted to go for these shards here. Unless you have a high rate of accumulation on that and you have the battle pass, it's very difficult sometimes, especially for new players, to get up to the 10k. I would not focus on these. Your bread and butter is going to be right here. Get gold, XP, and glowstones. This is what you're going to want to buy. That's just my recommendation. You can also do, same goes for the arrival events. If you've seen my video on how to do the arrival, when you do that, there's an exchange market here. I would not buy these. I always invest my money in arrival summons and tickets, but just know that you can, in fact, buy gold and XP here. So back to our warriors here. That's not our warrior. Start off with a 5-star warrior. You can go up to your ceiling. And again, every time you rank up, you reach a new ceiling. Every time you reach or have a new ceiling, the overall total cost of this goes up. Let's take a look at a chart that I did based on some of my warriors here. I have the star level. the maximum level that you can reach, which you can see here, the overall XP needed, the overall gold needed, and you do need growth stones for the first couple of rank ups, but then it stops, and growth stones moves entirely to just the star level. In order to increase the star level, which effectively is what you're doing here anyways, you don't need it for leveling up. You need it for starring up or ranking up. But just to note, these measurements is in millions. Okay, I should add I should add some clarifying insignia here, like an M, but you need 1.9 million for a 5-star to get to level 100, 6.1 to get to level 145. And keep in mind that this is per toon, per warrior. Okay. It may seem daunting that you go from 1.9 million to needing 6.1 to get to level 145. Now that's not, the 6.1 does not include the 1.9. It's another 6.1 million. It's going to take you another 5.2 million to get from 146 to 165. It may seem daunting, but if you are taking advantage of all of your in-game systems here to get these to get those, to get that XP, it's not so bad. It's not until you get up to rank 8 and 9 where things start to kind of slow down, because you do need about 17.5 million XP to effectively reach the ceiling. But notice when you go from 9 to 10, look what happens. You need 10 million XP to get from 186 to 205. You need over 40 million per warrior to go to 255 from 205. Now that's a huge jump. I would like to see something about that balance out a little more. I don't have the numbers because my guild and my contacts did not get back to me before I did this video, and I wanted to get some content out because I've been dry for a little while. I will update this, and I will try to actually save this to a format to where I make it available to anybody who wants to get in here and update this generic looking sheet. But this is just a reference. You know, just going from 206 to 205 requires a massive amount of XP and gold. And when you have to do this for your primary team or your 5 strongest warriors, it does become a little taxing. Now, I'm not going to say you're not going to get massive amounts of either of these, because you can, but that is a daunting number. Now, that leads me into what I was saying about auto boosting other toons, because when you look at these numbers, you're like, why would I do this to multiple teams of 5? It just seems like a unnecessary, and just seems like I'll never get more than one team. And the game does require multiple teams at some point, and sometimes your warriors can only battle once depending upon how many attempts you have. Well, that brings us to the in-game system of auto-leveling your warriors. And that's under the spring. Spring opens up at level 20, by the way, and then each of the tabs under here open up at a different level as well. And I want to say you'll have access to the spring, but you won't have access to the boot camp until like level 45 or 55. And this is what that screen looks like. You notice you have 5 warriors here. And that, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, if you invest materials into 5 warriors, your 5th strongest warrior is going to give you an advantage. You're going to be able to come in here and unlock these tabs and start to add other toons to it. And what that's going to do is it's going to auto level them to your 5th strongest warrior. That's huge, guys. That means you no longer need 40 million XP for multiple teams of 5, or even just other toons, because that is a bit ridiculous, honestly, to go from 10 to 40, but I digress. How do you unlock these tabs? Well, either by spending gems, which is actually well worth it. When you build your first team and you start to build other warriors, you start to star them up, and you go to level them, you're going to want to come in here once this levels up, which is why your adventurer level is super important. You want to get as high a level adventurer as you can as quickly as possible. Open this up and start opening up slots so that you can put other team members in here. and then auto level them to whatever your 5th highest warrior is. You may want to sub in a tune here or there. You may have multiple attempts at a guild boss, and you may want to have, and to take full advantage of the damage output and the stats, you're going to want to have those warriors in here to auto level. Because once they auto level, they do get every advantage of the base attribute stat increases that come with that level. It's a huge combat advantage. It's a huge combat advantage when you really need more than one character, but it also is going to save you a ton of materials and allow you to focus on 5 warriors in order to automatically use or be able to use dozens of other warriors. Now, in the temple here, it is well worth it to go on ahead and use gems, but don't use them right away. If you don't have the tunes to start putting in here, then you got to balance out what you're spending your gems on it. But this is one of those places where spending gems to unlock them is going to be well worth it. You may find, I mean, look, I got several lower stars in here, but I can use them and they're just as effective with base stats, and you throw some gear on there. What's the recommendation then? Take your original team, the first team that you build, and just start pumping XP into them. Not evenly, don't spread them out. Just use one and reach whatever ceiling you are at based on your star level, and then work on the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Because keep in mind, it's only your 5th strongest warrior. So if you have 4 warriors at 255, but you have 1 warrior at 200, all your tunes are going to auto level to 200. Now, any stat is better than no stat, but that's how it works. So when you're starting up your team, you should already know which ones you're going to be focusing on because of the investment. Now, again, keep in mind, you're going to want to be as high a star level as possible in order to have the highest ceiling possible to reach. Bring back up my chart real quick here. You're going to want to, getting to 6 and 7 and 8 stars is not hard, but it slows down when you get to 9 and 10. It really does and really can. My recommendation is whatever your star levels are, whatever your highest star level are, as you increase them, let's say you have 2 at 8 and some at 6, you need to take your 8s and you need to pump your XP into them until they reach the maximum. When these other ones get there, reach the maximum as well. But your star level should be pretty even across the boards if you're using the tip of using multiple warrior attributes to build your first team. So if they're all at star level 8, one by one, bringing them up to 185. That way, once you hit your 5th strongest warrior, every tune that you add to the temple here will be at level. That's it, guys. That is leveling up. That's the use of the in-game system. Take advantage of the idle rewards. Take advantage of the Fast Pass Battle Pass here. Get this every month, guys. It'll pay dividends, really, in not just one but multiple areas. Don't forget to do your benefits currency exchange to get rewards. Don't forget to do your daily trial quests in here, depending upon your power level. And don't forget to take advantages of your extra sweeps. And if you have any feedback or comments, guys, leave some feedback in the comment section. I do reply. I enjoy interacting with you guys. Consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content in the future. I got a lot more videos coming up. If you learned something, or you found something that maybe you just didn't know, or you already knew, just picked up an extra tip or two, consider leaving a like on the video. Until then, guys, see you in the next one.